Hey Luksoon, it's Jamos here, or Flash Mage, or you can call me Jamie. I know we've already spoken in a Discord call, so we've already gone through all the formalities. So you've sent 4 replays across. I'm assuming they're all twos replays on the basis that you've said that in the RLCD Discord you said that you're Diamond 3 and 2s and need coaching focused on positioning, not sure on your place on the field. I know we had a really in-depth chat where you were saying that you're a keyboard mouse player, that mechanically you think, generally speaking, things are fine. And as I said to you, mechanics are just a thing that come with time and practice anyway. But what you feel you really need help with is positioning on the field and just game sense, which is fine. So we'll look into that for you. Little bit of information about me, if it's relevant to you. So I've played the game since day one. I'm peak 1600 player, and as sort of mentioned to you when we spoke earlier, I don't really play too much these days for health reasons. What we're going to do, we're going to look at all 4 of your replays. We'll go into them in depth, see what we can find for you to work on. If need be, I can nip into free play at some point to show you some things that might be helpful to you. I've also got a nice twos cheat sheet that I can link in the description if I feel it would be beneficial to you, which I'll comment on if I do feel is beneficial. And we'll just go through them. We'll look at what's going on. I'll take notes, so I won't nitpick too much in the first game or two, because you've sent enough replays for me to get a really nice overview of what's going on. But what I will do is I'll write things down, and if there's things that I'm writing down, it means that they're reoccurring, so they're things to focus on. So we'll go over those, and then so we'll look over all 4 replays. We'll look in depth, and then afterwards we'll summarize it all, and we'll go from there. But if you've got any questions, queries, anything you liked, didn't like, do feel free to shoot me a message. But let's just jump straight in with the first one. So I'm going to go through them in the order that you've listed them in terms of the names. So this is number 1. We'll go to number 2, number 3, number 4. For the first minute or so in this first one, I'm not really going to say a lot. I'm just going to watch so I can get an idea of what's going on. And we'll kind of go from there. But let's kick them off. Okay, so we're about a minute in. Is there going to be a goal? There's going to be a goal. Cool. Okay, so I'll start commenting from this point. Okay, teammate whiffs the kick-off. Nothing we can do about that. Good, like the fact you're cheating up. Good, keeping the ball away. Yeah, we can be getting a lot closer than this. So get to halfway. If we're on halfway, then we're in a position whereby we can continue attack, keep the pressure on, and we can still give ourselves time to get back. We don't need to be sat this far away. Ooh, good effort from your teammate. It's unfortunate you've missed that boost. Go back for your corner boost. Good. The rotation was a bit funky. I'm not a fan of going backwards like that, but the rotation back into the net was a good decision, so that's good. That's a good hit. Oh, that's unlucky. That's unfortunate. Teammates kept it alive, should score a goal. Yeah. It's a very interesting game at the moment where not a great deal is happening. Kickoffs are good for the most part. Obviously, there was that first one that you missed. But the kickoff itself is fine. Positioning here is good. And then we just crowd the teammate out a little bit. So positioning here is really good. We're in a good position. We're between the ball and our net, so we're there to react to something if it goes pear-shaped. And then we just push out a little bit too far here. So I'm starting to panic already because we get this close to our teammate. He's still in possession of this ball here. He's not let this go. It's still right in front of the nose of his car. He's doing something with it. Let him do it. This is just a little bit ball chasey. It's not respecting your teammate. So just, if he's still in control of the ball, let him do it. Stay behind him and wait for him to lose control of the ball or wait for him to give it up to you. Either of those would have been fine. Coming in and taking it off him, not great. Positioning here is good. Good decision to go back. I like the fact that you made your decision to go back early. So this is good. So this is where when I first started commenting, there was a situation where the ball was in a similar position and we were really far back in our half. I said be on halfway. This is better positioning. Okay. You've made your decision at this point to go back into net, which is a good decision. I like the fact you've made your decision and you're sticking to it. It's really good. It's actually the correct decision in this instance as well. Just go back in there and wait and see what happens. Don't like how we've handbrake turned at that much of an angle. So it would have been better to have just turned side on here. So if we come back to it, just turn side on so that we're in a position whereby the nose of our car is still facing our net. And the reason for that is because that then gives us an opportunity to still make a save if the ball comes towards the net, and it would have actually put you in a better position to follow this ball out into your corner rather than having to turn again. Teammates got no respect for you here, and it's just a cut rotation. But you've let him do it, and you've just sat in net, which is good. I like that. Good clearance. Stay on the ball. Get a bump. Nice. Good play. Yeah. With a bit of game sense, you'd have known instantly that this was going to go in that direction. I knew it was going to go in that direction. I was praying for you to sort of dodge and get closer to where the ball was going to end up. But with game sense, that'll come in time. And in the end, you get the goal anyway, so it's not a problem. Yeah, that was your ball. Don't know why your teammate decided to hit that. He hit it into into a position that wasn't of any use to you as well. It's all a little bit disjointed, which isn't particularly rare for this rank. Good. Giving your teammate an opportunity to solo play it is fine. Oh, that's unfortunate. You bumped him. Teammate makes a really good recovery, actually. Good save. Nice. And then he bumps you. There's a little bit too much getting in the way of each other. It's not enough for me to comment on at this point, but it's just something that we need to look out for, because if there's too much of it going on, it indicates that rotations aren't quite where they should be. But we'll look at that in more detail as the games go on. Good decision to go back. Good. I like the way you turned in net and waited for a shot to come. It's your teammate's ball. Yeah, teammate was underneath it, so we should have just left that one for him. And that was really risky. So if we go back to this whole thing, so the ball is really far away from the wall at this point, and we can see our teammate right underneath it in a really good position. So we need to just be trusting our teammate, understanding this is his ball, and driving back down off the wall, and just rotating in behind him, ready to support him. We go for the ball, we miss it, which is as I said, avoidable. And then this is really risky. And the reason this is risky is teammate's gone flying past the ball. So he's actually further forward than the ball is. And one of the blue team is already in your half. So going for a bump here is really risky, because if you miss the bump, teammate isn't going to be able to get back, and neither are you. So this is just leaving an open net, and it's really, really risky. So I'd be avoiding this. Just think more about the risk that there is here. If teammate had been behind the ball or behind you somewhere, this would have been fine. Just because teammate is in front of the ball, this becomes really risky, because if we do miss the bump, which we do, as I said, it leaves that open net back, and it gives them a chance to score. Fortunately, your teammate gets back nice and quickly, but that could have come off a lot worse. You make, and it's not uncommon, but you make some really, really good decisions sometimes, and then there's the odd one that just isn't so great. So this one, we've already seen that you're really patient sometimes, and this is another instance where patience would have been better. We know it's going to bounce awkwardly off the corner because we see it all the time. Would have been better to just waited for the ball to bounce and then deal with it after it's bounced. We know exactly where it's going. Instead, we go up for it and miss it by a good car length. Unfortunately, that shot wasn't good enough. Good effort on no boost. It was a good effort on no boost. We could have continued driving forward here and grabbed 1 or 2 boost pads, either that one directly in front of your nose right now, or even the one just past the ball on the right hand side, or the one that's on the far right of the screen. Any of those would have been a good option and would potentially have allowed you to score this, instead of going backwards for this corner boost and then trying to drive forward for the ball. Potentially we could have scored if we'd have just grabbed 1 or 2 of those pads. It's good positioning. I don't know why one of them's gone for a demo on you here. We're going to switch to this briefly, because this is a really good example of what not to do. So I don't know which one it was, this guy. So teammate, and the reason I'm focusing on this is just I haven't seen you do it particularly, but it's a really good example, and I like to focus on when other people do things wrong, because it gives you a chance to learn and understand as well. So they need 2 goals with 12 seconds to go. Their best chance of doing that is with them both working as a team and getting the ball down to the opposite end of the field. What he does is his teammate is in his own corner and is going to struggle to clear this. And yet he decides, his teammate's being challenged, so he's not going to get the ball away, but he decides that the best option here is to try and go for a demo. It's just not a good decision. And we keep the ball alive, and that'll be the end of the game. So game 1, there's one thing I've got written down, but we'll address it when I see it a bit more, because I haven't really seen it since I've written it down. Otherwise, there have been little bits that I've nitpicked. Rotations sometimes seem a little bit scuffed, and the decision making as well. All things that are fairly common at this rank, and things that we'll pick up on more as the games go on. But let's jump into this second replay and see what's going on with this one. Kickoff is fine. Good. Push forward and put them under pressure. That's good. Teammate back to deal with it. Push forward, push forward, push forward, push forward. Need to be a little bit quicker here. So at this point, we know our teammate's pushing this forward. We've got one of them who's closer to our net than our teammate is, and one of them who's just missed the ball. We know this is going to push forward. So use a little bit of boost, get a little bit closer in support of your teammate. Because it's only really once we hit this position that we're in the right position, and then we shouldn't be turning around from here. The ball is still with our teammate. It's not going to come back towards your net from this position, so just stay facing forward and ready to receive a pass if it comes. And then we've just pushed slightly too far out wide. We should always maintain a position whereby we're between the ball and our net. Coming this wide isn't conducive to anything, doesn't help the situation, and in the end you have to turn around and go back, so the ball comes towards your net anyway. And then mechanically that was just poor. So what we should have done here instead, so if I come back to the whole thing, so push forward, push forward, push forward. This positioning is fine. What I'd preferred to have seen would be you push forward another couple of car lengths to the part of the screen where I'm just circling now. Push forward to here. That would be a much better position to be in, and then stay in that position. just sit there, wait to see what happens, and then we could still be there now, still be there now. And then once we see this ball being challenged, then we can turn around and start to move backwards towards a centre part of the pitch. I'm going to put a circle on the screen again here, just of a position which would be a slightly better position to be in. And then, had we been in that position with the car facing towards, so if I come back to it, so I'm going to circle again. And we should be in this position with the nose of our car facing slightly back towards our own net, but mostly towards the side wall. Okay, and then had our car been facing that direction, it would have been a nice quick left-hand turn to push backwards. Had we have done that, the correct decision then would have been to drive backwards, get underneath the ball, and deal with the ball as it's hitting the ground. We can see here from their touch that they're so far away from the ball, they're not going to be able to get up for this, and they're not going to be able to take an aerial shot. So we don't need to aerial it, it's a bit panicky. We could just stay on the ground and wait for it to come down and deal with it when it comes down, and that would have been a better option. Good cheating up, your ball, could be a goal. Good save, your ball again, good, like it, good play. And again here we can be a bit closer to our teammates, so this positioning is okay. Just keep moving in that same direction, sit still for a second. So here is really good positioning. We're in a position whereby we're close enough to our teammate to be in support whilst maintaining maintaining our position between the ball and our own net. Our teammates also under no pressure, so we can be a little bit more aggressive with our positioning here and push forward a little bit further. We turn backwards for no apparent reason. We only need to turn backwards if we think the ball's going to come back towards our net. It's clearly not. A teammate's not being challenged at all. So we can stay in the position we were in a second ago and just maintain that position with him. So here is fine. Just keep at this position. We can move slightly closer to him. So we can move slightly closer to the wall if we want to. Positioning in terms of length of the field is really good. And you can be anywhere really halfway between the middle of the pitch and the wall, or the middle of the pitch where you are at the moment. Anywhere between those sort of places in terms of width of the field is fine here. Certainly we don't need to be turning backwards like this. It just makes no sense. And then we're really far too far away from our teammate here. We should be a lot closer. Our teammate's attacking their net, and we're in a defensive position when there's no threat to our goal at all. So we really need to just be pushing further up. What I'm going to do, so I've got, like I mentioned at the start of the video, I've got a cheat sheet that's really helpful for positioning and rotations in twos. For you, the rotations themselves are pretty okay. It's more the positioning. So I'm going to add that document in as a link in the description below, just so you can have a look at that cheat sheet and it'll help you understand positioning a little bit more. Because I think that'll be helpful to you. Not the rotation side of it so much, but the positioning definitely, because we've seen it quite a few times now, and it happens more often when you're in attack and your teammate's on the ball than any other time. But your positioning is just a little bit too passive and a little bit too cautious and a little bit too defensive when it doesn't need to be. Decision to go up for this early is iffy. Again, I like the fact you've made your decision early and you've stuck to it. Can't criticise that because I like seeing quick decision making. Is it the right decision? Absolutely not. He's trying to take an air drag from halfway inside his own half. It's never going to threaten your net from that distance. So we don't need to be going up and meeting this. Absolutely not. He's not going to be able to score from there. just sit and wait for his second touch, wait to see what he does, stay in net and wait to save it. Instead, we go up for the ball, which is, not the right decision. But again, as I said, I appreciate the quick decision making. We've missed the ball in the end, which is, again, not an issue in itself. That happens. But because we've made that early decision and it's the wrong decision, we've put our teammate under pressure here because we've left an open net behind us. Fortunately, our teammate is on the ball and probably should have saved that, but he shouldn't have been left in a position where he needed to. So it's just the decision making there wasn't quite so good. Unfortunate. Get over to the other side. You can go and grab your corner boost over that side. We know our teammate's rotating down the side that we spawned from, so he can grab that corner boost there. So we can go and grab the other corner boost that's there, get ourselves onto 100 boost, and then be in a position to deal with this. Don't need to be going up for this. Teammate's already underneath it and going up for it. We're too far away to be able to do anything good with this, so we don't need to be going up this early. The ball's not a threat to our net. It's being pushed over to the opposite side of the field, so the opposition aren't going to be able to score from here. There's just absolutely no need for us to be going up for this. Take a quick shot if you can. Okay, control the ball. Controlling the ball is for the most part the better option than taking a quick shot. It's just that one situation there where we see one of them going for corner boost. We could have gone for a really quick shot here, taken them by surprise and maybe scored a goal. But for the most part and most of the time, trying to control the ball and keep control of the ball is the better option. Wait for it. Good patience like that. And again there, we don't need to be going up for it. It's not a threat to us. We're not going to be able to achieve anything other than pushing it back towards our own net and waste boost doing so. Stay on the ground, wait for him to do whatever he's doing with it. Your teammate's rotating behind you. You could have just conserved your boost there and waited to see what happened. There was no need to go up for it. Good control. It's your teammate's ball because we can see him coming in. It's a really good shot as well. Well played. The touch to take it past the first guy was good, and then I was just praying that you weren't going to go up and try and go for this, because I think that's what you initially wanted to do. You then seem to realise that your teammate was coming in for it, which is good, and the teammate's a really good shot. Good play. Good kick off. Good bump. A bit accidental, but good bump. Good control. I like that. 50's unfortunate, but we need to be getting back into net now. Good. Could have been a little bit quicker getting back into net. Yeah, so here, as soon as we realise that blue players in control of this, we need to be getting back and beelining and getting back quickly to our nets. We're ready to make a save because our teammate's in a poor position. And initially, this was really good. So I'm going to pause it in just a second. So what you do here, really good. Moving towards the far post of the net and towards the backboard, really good. That's the right thing to do. And then we just cut in a little bit too far here. So here we're in a position where we're not being of any use to anyone or anything. So we're too far out from the net to defend the net. We can't see what's going on anywhere on the field apart from in our own corner. So that's all we can see. And we're a little bit... This would be okay positioning in terms of width of the field if you're in your net, but if you're not in your net, then you need to be wider, as in a few car lengths backwards from here. And the reason for that is because it just allows you to see a bit more of what's going on, and it allows you to then control the situation as it develops. Whereas what happens is we push a little bit too far forward, teammate goes up backboard and misses the ball. But because we've pushed so far forward, we're then turning back to try and adjust our position. The ball drops and we're not able to deal with it. Whereas had we have been in a position on the far post and just sat there and waited, we could have easily dealt with that ball. What I'm going to do after this game is I'm going to jump into free play and show you exactly what I mean by that, because it will make more sense when I put it into practice. And then when you look at the cheat sheet that I'm going to link in the description, there's a bit about it in there as well. It'll make more sense when you look at it from there. But just take note at this point, and then after this game, we'll nip into free play and I'll show you what I mean by sitting on that rear post, because it would have allowed you to have cleared the ball there. I think this was just a mechanical mistake. I don't think you really meant to do this. You were on course to hit the ball without using a flip here. Could have just carried on going for it, and you'd have connected with that, not a problem. Good. Let your teammate have this one. Just going to flick to him to see what he's doing. That's he's actually getting centre to wait for you to carry on. So carrying on is actually okay. Generally speaking, though, in this position where we've got our teammate to the left of us, and we then... Oh, he's lost control of his car. That's why I didn't notice that. So ideally, I'd have probably left this for my teammate potentially, but going for it is absolutely fine. And the only reason I'd have rather have left this for a teammate would be at this rank in particular. Quite often, they're not going to be happy with you taking the ball over like this. He was fine and he did the right thing, but sometimes you'll find that they come up behind you and try and carry on with their thing. So just be careful of that. Teammate's ball. Good, well left. It's a good save. Yeah, so what we're doing a lot of, especially in this game, it didn't happen so much in the first game, but what we're doing a lot of is going up for aerials when we don't need to, and it's creating double commits at times, and it's also putting more pressure on you and your net because we don't need to be going up for them, so just be careful of that. That's a really good touch from your teammate, that's unlucky. That's a good shot. It's your ball again because your teammate's in front of it, so that's well played. Try and grab their boost. Yeah, could have made that decision earlier. We'd have probably got to it. Good. I like the way you're picking up the pads here because you recognise there was no big boost available to you. Good. Okay, that's game over. Okay, let's nip into free play quickly. Okay, so I mentioned rear post defence. I'm going to knock the ball over to this side because that's where it was in the instance that I was referring to. So when we see a teammate already back, in fact in any instance regardless of whether a teammate's already back, but particularly when we see a teammate already back, we always want to rotate onto the far post so that our teammate should be in this position as number 1, and then we're just behind him ready to mop up the pieces if he fails as number 2. What happened in that last game, I'm just going to come and collect this ball again because it's going to roll out, otherwise it's going to get on my nerves. What we saw in that last game was where we did the right thing initially. We were a little bit slow, so we lost the ball over here and our teammate was in a poor position. We should have been heading back quickly like this, but instead we were just dawdling a little bit, which isn't a huge issue. And then what we saw happen was you did this, which is good. I thought you were going to come back into this far post position, and this is what you should have done, to here or here, and just sat here somewhere. What you did instead was you made this turn, and then you came back into this area. And being here, sitting here with your teammate on the backboard is not going to be helpful to either of you. Being sat in this position, so if your teammate's on the backboard and he misses the ball, First of all, if it drops in front of your net, it's going to be really difficult for you to clear it. There's just nothing you can do particularly, unless it drops right here, in which case you can clear it. But if it drops behind anywhere in this area, you're not going to be able to do much about it from here. Secondly, as I said during the replay, you can only see this corner, whereas if you're sat here, you can see everything. So that's going to be more beneficial because you're going to be able to see what the second player on the opposite team is doing, and you're going to be able to still keep an eye on what's developing in that corner. And as I said in the video, if you'd have been sat in this position, the ball dropped into this area. If you'd have been sat in this position, it would have been a simple case of just coming out and getting rid of it. Whereas what we found was we crept forward from this position and we kept creeping, crept too far, ended up having to turn around. By this time, the ball had dropped into this area and there was just nothing we could really do about it. So just always remember to rotate onto the back post. Anywhere, sort of, you can rotate into this position and just sit here, or you can rotate into this position. Either of these is acceptable. And then wait for play to develop. There's no harm at all in waiting for something to develop, waiting to see what happens. Patience is a virtue in this game. We don't always have to be doing things instantly. Waiting is always a very good option. If we're the only man back, we're still going to, so say our teammate is rotating behind us somewhere and is coming from this direction, we're still going to want to rotate into this area on the back post if they're attacking this corner, and we're still going to want to creep into net. But as soon as we hear our teammate behind us or see him behind us, we're going to want to just creep forward onto this front post, where in number 1 position he can stay behind us in number 2 position. At your rank, what you're going to find happening from time to time is going to be, you're going to be sat in this position and your teammate's behind you somewhere, or in this position, and you're going to find that they think, what the fuck is my teammate doing? He's being too passive, and they're going to just cut across you like this. If that happens, let them do it. Can't be helped, and you can't correct silly, so just let them do it. You've got nothing wrong with what you're doing. Passive wins versus aggressive, so just continue doing what you're doing, and if they do that, that's up to them. There was one other thing I was going to show you while I was in free play, but I've completely forgotten what it was. Oh yeah, pathing. So I mentioned at one point that it was good that, so there was one point towards the end of that game whereby you were in kind of this position, you saw there was no boost available here, so you started going around and collecting the pads like this. I'd love to see you do more of this, because there have been a few occasions where you could have done this and you haven't done. And when you get towards sort of Champ 2, Champ 3, you're going to want to be in a position where it becomes really natural, and you can assist yourself in making it natural by jumping into free play 5 minutes every day and just going over the boosts like this, just going around the outside ones first of all, because it allows you to build into your muscle memory where all the small pads are. So just going around like this. You can speed it up if you want to, you can go as slowly as you like, whatever, it doesn't really make any difference. And then once you've done this for a bit, you can then do this one, which is one that I like. So I like, when I'm playing Rocket League, when I'm playing ranked, I like to make a rotation straight down the centre of the pitch a lot. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of boost available down the centre of the pitch, and often it's always there. So if we go over, we've got 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72 boost just from going down the centre of the pitch. So once we've done the outside, we can just start doing this, and it's really simple. And we can keep ball cam on. We can put the ball in a difficult position or make it move across the pitch, so that we're just getting more used to rotating across the boosts. We're going to miss some of them from time to time. That's just natural. We're not always going to be able to get all of them, but just practice that. It helps you understand where the boosts are. And then again, we can start going around these ones as well, around the inner circle, just so we can start to understand where these are. And eventually these will get built into your muscle memory, so that you'll know where every boost pad is, and you'll find that naturally in your games you're just going over the boost pads and collecting them, and eventually, as I said, it will become a passive thing that you're just doing. But certainly going into free play and just doing this kind of thing from time to time is absolutely fine. It helps build your muscle memory of where the boost pads are, and eventually you'll start to find that that's a benefit in games, because you'll find that there'll be times where you've got about 30 boost instead of having 0, just from the fact that you're going around and collecting the pads. So just maybe start doing that 5 minutes a day, and you'll start to naturally just pick up more boost. Let's move into game 3, see what we've got here. So there, similar thing to earlier. So you make the right decision initially by going back into net. We could have gone a little bit further into net, but it's not a huge issue. And then, similarly to that second game, there was a situation where you did a similar thing, but the opposite thing, if that makes sense. So in that second game, there was a moment where our teammate was pushing forward on the ball. He wasn't being challenged, and you pushed up with him initially, and then for some reason, despite the fact he wasn't being challenged, you turned round and went back into net. Same thing here, but it's the opposite way around. So you do the right thing initially, you get back into net, ready to wait for their attack. And then, despite the fact that their attack is still coming, and there is no challenge from your teammate, so the danger is still there, you start to push out, and I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense. Just wait for the ball to come. You'd have been in a much better position to deal with this had you have just sat there and waited, and then you could have actually cleared the ball down the field as opposed towards the side. That's your ball. Good effort. Unlucky teammate there. Oh, unlucky. Good challenge. You needed to make that one. Just wait. Good. And then it was just a little bit impatient at the end. So because you had 8 boost, it would have been a better decision to have waited for this as well, rather than miss the ball completely. But it works out okay in the end. Positioning here is just a little bit too far wide. So like I said earlier, correct positioning if your teammate's out wide with the ball is to be on the same side of the pitch as him, anywhere between sort of the midpoint between the middle of the pitch and the side wall, or the middle of the pitch itself. So I'm gonna put something on the screen here just to show exactly what I mean by that. But that will make sense to you from there, hopefully. And then we get in front of him for no apparent reason. We shouldn't ever be in front of him if he's on the ball, because that just leaves the goal unguarded and open to a shot from the blue team. And then we turn towards him, and that's just going to really confuse him and scare him. We don't need to be doing that. Good effort. Good patience. Try and put it middle for your teammate. Good. Take a shot. Oh, well played. You're fortunate in a way that your teammate was there to put that in. I don't know if that was a shot or a pass. Either are fine, but if it was a pass, should have shot instead. And if it was a shot, obviously we just need to practice shooting and make sure they're more accurate. I'm going to go back to this for a second, because you've done this a couple of times now, and on a couple of occasions, whilst it's not your fault that your teammates had a bad kickoff, it's resulted in a goal. So there's two things you can do from this kickoff where you're not going for the ball and you're sort of right next to your teammate in the same position. One of them is this that you're doing, but if you're going to do this, you need to be quicker about it. So if you're going to cheat up, then going for the boost that you've gone for is good, but you then need to quickly turn and get back into the middle so you're ready to intercept the ball if it heads towards your net. The other option you've got is to go for the boost, the corner boost instead. So at the start here, just turn to the right and go for the corner boost. You can flip and boost towards it, get there quickly, and then turn back towards your net ready to deal with it. If you'd have done either of those things in this situation, there's a potential you could have made a save. Maybe the ball was hit too hard for a save to be made anyway, but either of those are correct. You'll find that more people go for boost than cheat up from that position, just because it's more convenient. I'm one of them. I go for boost instead. But if you are going to cheat up, just make sure you're only grabbing the one boost pad, maybe two, and then getting very quickly back into the centre of the field. Because otherwise what we're finding is, in this position, we're just stuck in no man's land where we're not being of any use to anyone. Good bump. It's a little bit panicky. So we start from here. Don't really need to go up and go for the ball, but it's fine that we do. And when this happens, just stay on the backboard and stay out of your teammate's way. So going for the ball here, as I said, not necessary, but it's fine as an option. And then once it goes past you, and once it still goes past you, just stop boosting, stop driving, stay on the backboard ready to support your teammate, because what you're doing by carrying on driving is just getting between the teammate and the ball. And in some instances, this could be really dangerous. You could bump your teammate out of the way. He could come out to try and challenge the ball and bump you, and it just results in an empty net. Either way, you're just getting in his way. And then eventually, this ball's actually probably going clear from this point. So if we look at the touch he gets on it here, he hits it against the post and it's probably actually bouncing clear, but because we've carried on, we've accidentally got in the way of it and we've stopped the momentum and it's dropped right in front of our net. We get a good bump to make up for it, and then we get a bump on our teammate as well to push him out in front of it. But we just get in his way in the initial instance and it causes a bit of panic. Good, you made your decision and you stuck to it. And then here, so we're stuck in a bit of tunnel vision here with the ball. So once this goes past us here, it's no longer your ball to deal with, it's your teammate's ball to deal with. And again, you're rotating with the ball, which is going to potentially put you in the way of your teammate at some point. What you're going to want to do instead of this is just rotate out to the opposite side, to the far side, to get out of your teammate's way and let him know it's fine for him to come to this ball. Nothing you can do from this position is going to be helpful to you or your team, but your teammate's in an excellent position to do things that are helpful to your team. So just trust him in this situation and rotate to the opposite side. There's a good page in the cheat sheet I'm linking you to down below, which will explain this in more detail. What I'm also going to do after this game, I'm going to nip into free play and show you what I mean by this as well, just because I think it's going to be a benefit to you. Because what you're going to find if you do that in a lot of games is you're going to find you're getting in your teammate's way. Good shot. Okay. Come back to this then. So positioning here is good. We're helped a little bit by the blue team, but you're starting to rotate back. You then turn to keep in support of your teammate. Positioning is really good, and the shot's a good shot. Okay. A little bit lucky with that. Okay, we'll watch that whole play again, and we'll nitpick it a little bit. So, good going for the boost, good beelining back to your own net. But again, it's just a bit impatient here, so we don't need to be pushing out for this. It's not of any danger to us. And you do slow down eventually, but again, this positioning is too far out from your net, so it would have been better. Pause it a little bit earlier. So here, just continue this line to your far post and then sit on either of those positions that I showed you in free play between this replay and the last one. And then just sit and wait for what's about to happen. And if you're in net at this point, you can see what's going on and you're in a really good position to defend this versus where you are at the moment, which is a good 2 cars lengths out of net. and you're putting yourself into an awkward position. You come out and miss the ball, isn't particularly an issue in itself, but you'd have been at a much better angle to come out and deal with that had you been sat in net. You could also have waited for the shot to have come in and it would have been savable. Okay, so there's a little bit ball chasey here. So this first touch, I don't know if you play with sound or music or what, but I could hear your teammate coming in, so I knew that he was coming in for this. Was he right to? Perhaps not, but I'd have just let him do it. What we do instead is take it away from him and then stay on the ball. And in the end, it goes past our teammate. Teammate should have done better there, so that's not your fault, and then we can't do anything about this. It's a little bit ball chasey. I'd have left it for my teammate. What you did wasn't necessarily wrong. Could have just been done a little bit better. Coming back to this again, it's a little bit impatient. So the ball's going towards our corner. We need to make a decision quickly and stick to it. So it's at this point you either need to decide to come out for it or sit in net. In the end, you kind of go into net and then come out for it. It just wastes a little bit of time. And then we come out when we should just be sat in net. We come out for it, they pop it over us, and then our teammate's in a poor position as well. So if we switch to teammates Pov here, so he's going to back up what I was saying before about the defensive positioning here. So he comes back, he's making a beeline for it, which is really good, and then he just stops and sits a good 3 or 4 car lengths out. It puts him in a really awkward position to deal with it, and he just can't. Would he have saved it if he'd have come back a bit further? Perhaps, perhaps not, but the positioning was poor again. Good clearance. Grab those boost pads, well played. I like it. Teammates being a bit chasey. That should still have been your ball, but that's fine. And then this was really risky, so going for a shot here is fine, but we need to make sure it's on target. There's a huge risk to us missing here, which is that teammates behind both of them, one of them's facing in the right direction. If we hit the backboard with this, it goes back towards our own net and it leaves an open net. Unfortunately, you and your teammate get in each other's way, and it's going to result in a goal. It was a little bit risky. Was it worth the risk? Yeah, the shot should have just been more accurate. Good. We could have been a little bit closer here. Once we see this is hitting the backboard, we could have been... How was it once? No, here. We could have pushed up closer. So by this point, be on halfway. We've got 10 seconds to score 2 goals. We need to be a bit more aggressive. And then you do the right thing once it hits the backboard and come in for it. It's a good shot in the end. He's hit it like that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that game, decision making, positioning, not the rotations. The rotations are still generally okay. There's just the one thing I want to show you in free play quickly. But the rotations themselves and the idea of the rotation is good. Positioning needs some work, but we've already addressed that, and we've got the cheat sheet down below in the description for you to look at. Decision making, most of the time you're making a quick decision and sticking to it, which is good. Just need to be a bit more consistent with that, and then making sure it's the right decision as well, which comes with game time and game experience, but also comes with watching this video and me sort of pointing out what would be a better decision to make. Hopefully we'll put it into practice for you. But the one thing I want to nip into free play and show you very quickly before we look at the last replay is just the defensive rotation. So there was that one occasion in that last game where we're in this position, the ball goes over us, goes past us, and we then follow it back along this direction. Now, ordinarily, I'd like to see you rotate immediately, but you're on 0 boost and there was a boost in front of you, so I don't have an issue with that. But once you grab it, just make sure that you then rotate in this direction so that we're getting out of the way of our teammate. Because what we had was our teammate in here, in net, waiting for it. And then once the ball drops down, he would normally just come out and deal with it. But because what happened was you came down for this boost, and you then came into this area and did this, you're blocking your teammate off and stopping him from being able to do what he wants to do on it. So when we're rotating like that, once the ball goes past us, we know that it's our teammate's ball and it's for him to deal with. So once it goes past us and it goes into this corner, ideally we want to be coming straight over in this direction towards the opposite corner, just getting out of our teammate's way and then getting behind him, ready to deal with anything that happens. But if we do see the boost is there, we want to grab it before the opposition does, that's fine. Just make sure that we're doing something afterwards to get out of our teammate's way. And that could be either doing this, so just getting out of his way like this, or alternatively, depending on the situation with the ball and the opposition, we can also do this. So we drop down for the boost and then we can go up the wall and then just jump over him like this and then get back over here like this. Either of those would have been fine, but would have been slightly better than what actually happened. Let's go ahead and jump into the final replay here, see what we've got. Game 4. Again, there we don't need to be going up for it. We've addressed that a few times. There's just no need. So this ball by itself is no threat to you or your net. It's bouncing down, straight down. It's going slightly wide, and both of the blue team are in positions where they're not really going to be able to do a lot. The biggest threat is this guy, but he's still not going to be able to really score it from there. So going up for it and missing it, not ideal. Good positioning though to make the save there. Teammates were already getting a little bit pissy because you bumped him once or twice and you got in his way, but you had every right to on both occasions, so I wouldn't be worried about it. Yeah, and at this rank, I would like to think we'd be able to do something a little bit better or quicker than this. So what just going to have a look at it one more time. What I'd have preferred to have seen here would be a hook shot of some kind. An alternative option to that would be a flick shot. What I'm going to do after this game, we'll go back into free play one more time. And I want to show you what I mean by hook shot. And obviously we know what a flick shot is, but we'll have a look at what we could have done there. But a hook shot would have been a really good option there. You might know what a hook shot is. And if you do, brilliant. I'm going to go into free play and show you anyway, just because it would have been a really good option there. So this touch isn't particularly helpful to you or your team. Would have been better to have stayed on the ground, controlled the ball and taken it somewhere, rather than what's a touch that goes nowhere. We use a jump, so we take our car out of control for a second, and it just gives the blue team the ball. Fortunately, the touch was bad, so there's not a goal that comes from it. Better rotation. Could have gone as the first man if you'd wanted to, but leaving it for your teammate is fine. And this positioning is perfect as second man. Really good. Like that. Much better. It's exactly what I was saying in terms of positioning in the last couple of games. That's a lot better. Oh, that's unlucky. It was a good shot that time. Good effort. Good boost still. Now get back quickly. Okay. We score a goal from it, but here we don't need to be going this far back. As soon as we see our teammate going in for this and challenging it, keep the ball cam on and turn to support him. You already had 60 odd boost. You didn't need to grab any more. What's happened in the end is he scored a goal, which is great, but you've ended up whilst the ball is on their net, you've ended up pretty much back in your own net, which isn't ideal. If he hadn't have scored this, you wouldn't have been anywhere near in support of him. That was your ball to save, so I don't know why your teammate went on for it. In the end, it works. That was a good effort with the pinch. Not sure if you meant that. If you did, that's a really good effort. That was definitely going in. Okay. Don't like this. So here, we could have grabbed a few more bits of boost whilst this ball's going up the ball, so we could have come back out and grabbed... I'm going to circle some boosts here, but we could have grabbed this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or there's one to your left that corresponds with this last one. Could have grabbed any of those to just increase your boost a little bit. Sitting in net is fine. And then we go up the backboard, shouldn't be doing that. Our teammate will see us sat in net, so if he feels like someone needs to go up the backboard, he can do that. It's not your responsibility to do, especially on 17 boost. There's not a lot you're going to be able to do with that. In the end, your teammate bails you out. Watch that again. So this is good. We control the ball, which I like. We bring it away. We look for that boost. We go for the air drag. It's a good shot. Well played. Okay. Bit of a lack of communication there. That happens. I'm not going to drill into that too much because I've not seen it many other times. In fact, I've not seen it any other times. Has one of them already stopped playing? Okay. Okay. I know one of them's just stopped playing, but we still need to treat the game in the same way. This was never your ball. I mean, in theory, it should have been. Teammates should probably have rotated out, but we can see that he isn't rotating out and he's staying with the ball. We need to respect that and let him stay on the ball. What we do instead is we come in for a ball that he's staying on. We bump him out of the way. We give the ball back to the blue team. We leave an open net. This could quite easily be a goal. I don't know if it's going to be, but it should be. Yeah. Our fault. Just respect your teammate a little bit more. And here, same thing. So we're on 0 boost. We look for that mid boost. It's not there. Ball bounces out. We're still looking for some boost. Go and grab that corner boost. Teammate's there. We know that he's there from kickoff. He's got that under control. Let him have control. Go and grab that boost and then turn and be in support of him. What we do instead is try and cut across for the ball on 0 boost. Teammate goes for it as well because he's got every right to, because he's got boost and that's his ball. And in the end, you find yourself going for that mid boost, which is fine, but you could have already had the boost and been in support of him. So here, decision to come back is okay, it's fine. We then go into an iffy position in the net, which you correct and get into a good position. I like this, that's good. And then just stay patient, and then we just creep out a little bit, which we don't need to do. So the patience here was really good, and then as soon as he makes this touch, we start to do this thing where we creep really far, and the ball ends up bouncing over us, and it makes it really awkward to deal with. Just stay sat where you were. You're in the best position you could be in. If you're slightly behind the line, you can deal with anything that comes at you, whereas if you creep out, you can't deal with it if it goes above you, which is what happened. So just stay slightly behind the line. It will leave you in a better stead to deal with any situation. Good shot. And that's game over. So I said I was going to jump into free play just to show you what I meant by hook shots if you don't know quickly. So we'll do that very, very quickly. So you're in a situation whereby you had the ball kind of in this area. It was passed to you from your teammate, and it was rolling in this direction, and what you did was you kind of did this thing and you came in and you just did nothing with it in the end, really. What would have been better, and what you could have done quite easily, was once this ball rolls to you like this, you could have just taken another touch to bring it further down the line and then swung in and then done that, which is a hook shot. Obviously, in the actual game, you could have done a much more powerful one. I was just using that as an example. But what you could have done as an example of a more powerful one would be to have pushed it down this way, come around, made the angle, and then done the hook shot. Okay, that one missed, but you get the point. So if I do it again from this angle, so just push it down the line, come wide of it, and then come into it. You can dodge into it, and you get a really powerful shot off in the end. And that's what a hook shot is. What you could also have done, as I discussed in the actual game, would have been to have controlled it and got a flick off. So could have just controlled it like this, and then gone for any kind of flick. Obviously, I didn't really get one there, but that might have faked them. Or you could, I've seen you do one or two flicks. Obviously, you've got it down, so you could have done anything with it really. Anything like that would have worked. So that was just different options for you in that last game. Otherwise, I've really not written that much down. I'm going to add the cheat sheet in the description down below. We've obviously been over positioning, certainly defensively. It'll all be included in the cheat sheet. I'm going to show you having a bit more respect for teammates at times, making the best decision, your ability to make a quick decision seems good. You are making quick decisions, you are sticking to them most of the time. Sometimes you're then making a second decision, which isn't the right thing to do. Once you've made your first decision, it should be stuck to. And again, it's just the positioning a lot of the time, which I know is something that you mentioned in Discord anyway. So I'll add that cheat sheet. Everything that I've discussed over the four replays will hopefully be helpful to you. If there's anything else that you need from me, if there's anything you liked, didn't like, anything you need help with, any comments, queries, those kind of things, then absolutely shoot me a message. Hope the video's been helpful to you. If it has, do feel free to leave a positive rep in the RLCD Discord, although you absolutely do not have to. If you want to jump into any sort of live sessions at all, that's absolutely fine too. Just ping me a message and we can arrange that. I can come and play with you on an old account, or I can just watch you play and help you live. Any of the above is absolutely fine. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. Just have a look at the cheat sheet. Take on board what I've said. If anything doesn't make a lot of sense, just ping me a message and let me know, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, though, I hope it has been helpful to you, and enjoy the rest of your day.